America, we gotta get back to doing what's expected of us as free citizens in this democracy. That means being tolerant, being respectful, staying informed, and being engaged. I'm former Congressman Joe Walsh. Follow me here and join the millions of Americans who are renewing their social contract with each other. The social contract, it's on us. Hey, I hope you all had a lovely Thanksgiving weekend. Former Congressman Joe Walsh with you this Monday, December 1st. December, baby! Isn't that wild when you think about it? December already. Isn't that wild when you think about it? December 2025. Isn't that wild when you think about it? We're only, 31 days away from the year 2026. Seems just like yesterday we went from 1999 to 2000. And in the blink of an eye, we're almost in the year 2026. Hope you all had a really nice Thanksgiving. Two thoughts this Monday morning as we get back into it. I was wrestling with this all day yesterday as I began to think about, and I took some time off, spent a lot of time with my dogs, tried to take as best as I could my mind off of politics as much as I could over Thanksgiving. But yesterday, as I began to get into it again and began to get into everything that's front of mind right now, I sort of obsessed over this. We're now 5 days removed from an Afghan National in Washington, D.C., ambushing and targeting two National Guard members from West Virginia, horribly killing one of those National Guard members. The other National Guard member is still clinging to life. And here we are 5 days later. And we still don't know why he did what he did, why the killer did what he did. We still don't know motive. We'll get there. Hopefully soon. But it's the incongruity of this that's been kind of bugging me. We don't know why this guy targeted two National Guard members and shot him. We don't know that today. We didn't know that yesterday. We didn't know that Saturday. We didn't know that Friday. We didn't know that on Thanksgiving Day. And yet, on Thanksgiving Day, the Trump administration basically said, that's it. For right now, man, no more immigrants, no more anybody from Afghanistan. And while we're at it, we're not going to let anybody, we're going to pause and not let anybody from 19 other third world countries come into America. The disconnect there. Somebody shoots two National Guard members. The guy who shot two National Guard members happens to be from Afghanistan. Yet without knowing motive, without knowing why he did what he did, Trump says, that's it. No more people from Afghanistan here. No more brown and black immigrants here. No more Muslim immigrants here. Before we even know why he did what he did. There's no rational reason to do that. Immediately stop all immigration from Afghanistan because of the actions of one person, because of the actions of one person, that person, we still don't know why he did what he did. Did he do what he did because he's from Afghanistan? Did he do what he did because he's a Islamic terrorist? We have no idea. Yet, even though we have no idea, we're not going to let anybody from Afghanistan into this country anymore for now. That doesn't make sense. Collective punishment because of the action. Man, if we went down that road, every time there was a shooting, every time there was a mass shooting in America, every time there was an act of terrorism in America, if we went down the collective punishment road based on the actions of one person, oh man, I talked about this last week. The vast majority of mass shooters in this country are young, white, American-born men. If we collectively punished every young, white, American-born man for every time a young white guy born in America committed a mass shooting, wow, we'd be punishing young, white, American-born men in this country all the time. Would that be right? Would that be fair? Punish every young white guy in this country because one young white guy walks into a school or a movie theater and starts shooting? Trump administration wouldn't do that. Trump administration wouldn't go down that road of collective punishment, would they? What's different here? And again, it makes no sense because we don't know why he did what he did. But yet the Trump administration immediately came out and collectively punished every Afghan national living in this country, every Afghan national trying to come into this country, every Afghan national that served alongside us in the war in Afghanistan for years. The Trump administration didn't stop there because of the actions of one guy from Afghanistan. Donald Trump is collectively punishing brown and black and Muslim immigrants from 19 other countries. How the hell does that make sense? In fact, you remember Trump on Thursday, on Thanksgiving, and then on Friday, obsessed over Somalian Americans living in Minneapolis. Trump had to be reminded that the killer in DC didn't come from Somalia. Trump's answer: doesn't matter. Somalian Americans in this country are dangerous. It's all fear. It's all policy based on fear. It's all policy driven by fear. I mean, just cut to the chase. That's what this is. That's what this is. That's what Trump is doing. That's what Trump generally does every day, is spread fear, and generally spreads fear of, people who don't look like me, people who don't look like white American men, brown and black people, Muslims, immigrants from Central America, immigrants from Islamic countries. It's policy based on fear. That's why the collective punishment. For all we know, this Afghan national who did what he did on Wednesday, and some of the reportings he had major mental issues going on. This guy, not only did he fight alongside American troops in Afghanistan for years, he did some of the hardest, most dangerous, most lethal work. He fought alongside our super duper secret CIA units doing their stuff in Afghanistan. He's the kind of guy who put his life on the line every single day, along with our CIA agents in Afghanistan. There's reporting that he just PTSD. He's messed up. He just went off. He went crazy. Relatives are saying that the last number of emails they got from him, he was losing his mind. Whatever. Point is, we don't know why he did what he did. It may have nothing to do with where he came from. It may have nothing to do with who he is. It may have nothing to do with his religion. It may have nothing to do with his creed. It may have nothing to do with his beliefs. It may have nothing to do with the color of his skin. But that doesn't matter, because as soon as it happened, Trump and everybody on the right, my former world on the right, said, we're going to punish everybody who has the same religious beliefs, who has the same color of skin, who looks like that guy looks. In fact, we won't stop there. We'll punish everybody with darker skin than he had. This is all policy based on fear. Trump's been doing this for a long, long time. The Muslim ban. They're eating cats and dogs. Why did Donald Trump last year, in front of the entire world, stand up on a debate stage with Kamala Harris and literally go there and say it? They're eating cats and dogs. These Haitian migrants, these brown and black immigrants, Trump said to the country, they're eating your pets. Why did Trump say that? No evidence of that. That's an outright lie. That's bullshit. Trump said it because he wanted you and me, he wanted his voters to be afraid of Haitian migrants. Man, they're eating your pets. Be afraid. I come from the right. I come from the far right. I come from right-wing media. This works. I knew it 14 years ago when I did some of it. I knew it 9 years ago when I did a little bit more of it. I knew it about 7.5 years ago when I stopped doing it. And I know it now. And what happened in Washington, D.C. last week, and Trump and the right wing's reaction to it. Remember, I'm not a lib. I'm not somebody on the left. I'm still a proud, I may be a Democrat. I'm still a proud Tea Party Democrat. But it wasn't just Trump. Every right wing media voice, most Republican members of Congress echoed what Trump said. Keep all those brown and black immigrants out. Keep all the Muslims out. This works with a right-wing audience. And again, I know that because I used to do some of it. This spreading of fear. Be afraid of people who don't look like you. Be afraid of people who don't look like immigrants looked 50, 60 years ago. Be afraid of people who don't look like your parents' generation, your grandparents' generation, your great-grandparents' generation. Bottom line is, be afraid. They're going to kill our National Guard members. They're eating cats and dogs. They're going to practice Sharia law in America. Voodoo. They're going to change America. On and on and on it goes. And what happened last week, the reaction of Trump and the right, is textbook. A guy from Afghanistan commits a horrible act. Boom, like clockwork, my former world of the right stands up and says in unison, keep them all out, all of them Afghans. In fact, don't stop there. Let's ban everybody from 19 third world, i.e., brown and black countries. Let's keep them all out. It works. It works with a lot of Americans. It works with the Republican Party MAGA base, which is primarily middle-aged, older, white folk. It works with a lot of Americans. This spreading of fear works with a lot of Americans beyond just my base, my former base, the MAGA base. It works with a lot of people out in independent land, even if they don't admit it. Remember, Donald Trump won last year. He got reelected last year. He won by more than people thought. He did better than he did in 2020. He in 16. He increased his support among a lot of people. The single issue he ran on, the single issue Trump ran on more than any other issue to help get him elected was the issue of immigration. And Donald Trump spent 80% of his campaign just firing off bullshit, lies, demagoguery just on immigration, immigrants from Mexico and Guatemala and Colombia and Afghanistan and Iran and Libya and you name it, going after brown and black and Muslim immigrants. Trump, they're committing crimes. They're eating your cats and dogs. Donald Trump actually said during the campaign, they're coming into your kitchens and they're going to slit your throats. Trump said that at a campaign rally. They're coming to your neighborhood. Trump and his right-wing media cheerleaders screamed all of that campaign. And it worked. My new party, the Democratic Party, has never really fully understood the issue of immigration and or the issue of street crime. Regular Americans give a fuck about immigration and street crime. And while we've had Trump out there and my former world of the right out there demagoguing the issue and spreading fear every single fucking day, during that campaign and for years, the Democrats just ignored the issue altogether. So you're an average American out there, man. You're working your ass off, couple kids, live in the city or next to the city, and you're just trying to keep your head above water, make enough money to have a couple beers on the weekend, maybe go on one vacation a year. And here you got a guy, an utter asshole, that's scaring the shit out of you about brown and black immigrants just crawling across our border. And the other party isn't even talking about it. Even if he's an asshole. Even if he's exaggerating a little bit, like they're going to enter your kitchen and slit your throat and eat your cats and dogs after they do it, at least he's talking about the issue. That's what a lot of Americans were faced with last year. Final thought on this. And again, it's look, the collective punishment of an entire race, an entire religion, an entire group of people because of the actions of one person, that's a bad, wrong, stupid, dangerous road to go on. I hope you get that, right? Again, we would not as a country say, let's deport all young, white, American-born men because they commit most of the gun violence in this country. We would never do that. It's a bad road to go down. Final thought. And I'll talk more about this as we go on, because I think this whole notion of fear of the unknown, fear of that thing that looks different. Man, it's driving way too much of our policy on the right, and the right is in control right now. I come from the right. I get this. I know this. I used to practice some of this. I apologize profusely for that, and I've been apologizing for years for that. It works because it works particularly on Americans on the right. The fear does, because I think they're afraid of change. I think that's what's at the base of all of this. I've had enough conversations over the years and enough engagement still over the years. The notion of America changing, not as white as it used to be, not as Christian as it used to be, doesn't celebrate Christmas like it used to. Man, don't have the jobs in town that you used to have. Got people coming in stealing those jobs. Not as black and white, right? Men are men, women are women, men marry women, women marry men. There are two genders. All of this stuff. Change. Trump and leading voices on the right know that this change scares people on the right. And so they pick at it and they stab at it. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, you're right. America's becoming less white every day. We're letting in all these brown and black immigrants every day. We're letting in all these Afghan nationals. Do you see what they do, man? They're eating your cats and dogs. They're shooting our National Guard members, man. They're committing acts of terror, man. I've said this before. We're not paying attention to this. One of the most powerful forces in my former political party is Christian nationalism. I mean, the out and out belief that America should formally be a Christian nation. We need a state religion, and that religion should be Christianity. This is antithetical to America. This is read my lips, George H.W. Bush. This is the most powerful animating force in my former political party right now, this force of Christian nationalism. The Speaker of the House openly talks about it. J.D. Vance openly talks about it. Those are elected officials. Other members of Congress openly talk about America should be formally a Christian nation. Marjorie Taylor Greene, we talk about how much Marjorie Taylor Greene has evolved in the last few months. Marjorie Taylor Greene believes America should be formally a Christian nation. Then you go into everything that the Tucker Carlsons of the world are spreading. America is changing so quickly and has changed so quickly when it comes to issues like race and the economy and religion and gender. I've said this before. It was just 12 years ago, I think I'm right, 13 years ago, that Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton opposed same-sex marriage. I could be off by a few months. That's a nanosecond. That was just 13 years ago. And so the Fox News watching audience, their heads have been spinning as this country changes seemingly every minute of every day. And that engenders fear. They're afraid of this change. And political leaders on the right and media leaders on the right should see that and understand that and try to explain the changes to their audience. Try to help them understand how this country is changing, how it's changing for the better, right? Understand these new immigrants who are coming from Guatemala and Colombia and not Ireland and the UK and Italy like they did back in the day, instead of trying to educate their audience and increase understanding and empathy, the right wing voices just double and triple down and spread fear. They inflame the fear. So something happens like what happened in DC last week. And I know because I've heard it every single day. I still engage with these folks. Man, they are convinced that we got to keep brown and black people out of the country and keep Muslims out of the country. They're convinced of it. They're convinced of it because that's their fear. America's changing too quickly, and this is all they're hearing. And then the president of the United States comes out and he confirms their fear. See, right? He confirmed their fear. Trump's reaction to what happened in DC was all about division, hate, and fear. He confirmed what the MAGA base believed. And now they believe it even more. It's a shame. Because the answer isn't fear. The answer is understanding. The answer is hope. Hey, one other quick thing I wanted to get to today. This, as we sit here today, and we got the Secretary of Defense. By the way, there ain't no fucking thing called the Department of War. It ain't a real thing. I don't want to hear Department of War. Only Congress can create and name executive departments and agencies. We don't have a Department of War. It's a Department of Defense. And the Secretary of the Department of Defense, 17-year-old Pete Hegseth, he's committing, right, admitting to committing war crimes down off of Venezuela as the Trump administration. By the way, MAGA, is this what you voted for? Regime change? The Trump administration is just, they're not even inching or crawling to regime change in Venezuela, man. Trump's called a meeting tonight. We're going to war against Venezuela. Well done, MAGA. But you've got Pete Hegseth acknowledging over the weekend that he issued illegal orders, probably committed a war crime, though we're not at war. So he probably committed murder, taking out one of these Venezuelan drug boats, fishing boats, ordering everybody on the boat killed. And then when 2 or 3 people still survived, the Secretary of Defense himself said, kill them, not even knowing who they are. That's the damnedest thing. 80, 90 of these boats, we've killed how many people? We don't know who we've killed off the shores of Venezuela. We do not know who we've killed. I'm not going to let go of this. This drumbeat that those 6 senators who the 6 Democrat members of Congress 2 weeks ago who put out that video saying, hey, members of the military, remember, you are obligated to not follow illegal orders. You are obligated to follow the law. All they did was reiterate, right? Reiterate, you got to follow the law. That's all. Mark Kelly and the others did, and Trump has attacked them. The Secretary of Defense, 17-year-old Pete Hegseth, wants to court-martial Mark Kelly, all because Mark Kelly said, reminded them, follow the law. This idea that Trump would never issue illegal orders is utter bullshit. It's why he's putting our military on our streets. He's laying the groundwork to give them to give them illegal orders. Look what he's doing again. It ain't Hegseth, it's Trump off the shores of Venezuela. And we forget, there's so much more, but we forget this. And for some reason over the weekend, I heard it again. I don't know why, but we forget this interview on 60 Minutes from, I don't know, maybe 5, 6 years ago. But this was an interview with Mark Esper, who was Trump's Secretary of Defense in Trump's first term. And he was Secretary of Defense in Trump's first term when there were a bunch of protests going on in Washington, D.C. And America forgets because we have a short memory, but Donald Trump issued an illegal order to Mark Esper in his first term. Keith, we got that?
He's going to finally give a direct order to deploy paratroopers into the streets of Washington, D.C., and I'm thinking with weapons and bayonets. And this would be horrible.
What specifically was he suggesting that the U.S. military should do to these protesters?
He says, can't you just shoot them? Just shoot them in the legs or something. And he's suggesting that that's what we should do, that we should bring in the troops and shoot the protesters.
The commander-in-chief was suggesting that the U.S. military shoot protesters.
Yes, in the streets
American
of our nation's
protesters.
capital. That's right.
Thanks, Keith. Let's just be clear about something. That interview, again, I think was from 5 or 6 years ago. That happened during Trump's first term. Presidents don't suggest, presidents order. That was the president of the United States at the time telling his Secretary of Defense to order the United States military to shoot at protesters' legs. American citizens lawfully protesting in the streets of Washington, D.C. Remember, Trump ordered paratroopers and other military members into D.C. And there he was, Trump, telling Mark Esper, shoot him in the legs. Shoot him in the legs. Shoot those American citizens in the legs. Just shoot them in the legs. Can't you just do that? Do that. Mark Esper said, no, sir. Mark Esper said, no, we can't, sir. And he didn't. And that went away. I end the show today with a really simple question. Can any of you imagine 17-year-old Pete Hegseth saying no to that order? Protesters in Chicago, Illinois? Protesters in Columbus, Ohio? Protesters, American citizens on the street lawfully protesting in Nashville, Tennessee, and Donald Trump sends American military into Nashville, Tennessee, and Trump says, hey, Petey, I want your military men and women firing at American citizens' legs. Is there anybody listening to me right now who believes Pete Hegseth would say no, sir? Who believes that Pete Hegseth would say what Mark Esper said and ignore that illegal order? Not obey that illegal order? Anybody imagine Hegseth doing what Esper did? Fuck no. Hey, thanks for listening. My Substack. I really like my Substack. It's called The Social Contract, Social Contract with Joe Walsh.substack.com. By the way, I get asked a lot, why social contract, Joe? Easy. Social contract, it is our responsibility as citizens in this country. We have basic responsibilities. We have to be respectful to each other. We have to be tolerant of other views. Then we have to be respectful toward other views. We got to stay informed and we have to be engaged. It's the social contract. Social contract with Joe Walsh.substack.com. Check it out. Become a subscriber if you'd like. If you have an email you want to shoot me, please do. The Social Contract with Joe Walsh.at. Too many dots and ats and way too much social media. The Social Contract with Joe Walsh, all one word, at gmail.com. Let's have a good week. Thanks for listening. Be brave.
Thank you for listening. Remember to listen, share, and follow The Social Contract with Joe Walsh on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and everywhere great podcasts are found. And be sure to leave a 5-star review. This has been The Social Contract with Joe Walsh.